I don't have to sell them. I just have to make sure I get to the rest of the people out there and introduce myself as the answer. And then I want to, the Seinfeld, I want to be, everybody needs to have that guy. I want to be the guy. So I want to be the guy.
You got that guy?
I got that guy. Exactly.
You got that guy.
So
are you the guy? You're the guy.
Trainer.
You're the guy. You're the guy.
We're the guy. So Chad, our head trainer at Fibrenew, is you want to be the guy. And that's how we want to be, that person out there or gal. And then there's no selling involved. We've taken away that 4-letter word, like you said.
Yeah.
And it's not a negative anymore.
At MBA Chartered Professional Accountants, we have 3 core beliefs. 1, we believe that business owners are the most important people on the planet. 2, we believe that the traditional accounting firm business model is flawed and fails to serve you. And 3, we believe the MBA way gives you what you truly want and deserve, resources and advice that helps you grow your business and your life. This is the MBA Way Podcast. Hi, everyone. It's Eric Solbakken, and welcome back to the MBA Way Podcast. Today on the show, I have a guest that I just met the other day at Derek's. If you're in Kelowna and you haven't gone to Derek's Steakhouse, holy suffering, you got to get there, man. It's so good. But I met Steve at the steakhouse and we hit it off like a house on fire. And I literally cut off our conversation halfway through it. And I said, okay, stop right there. We need to record this on a podcast. So we're going to probably go down all sorts of different ways. But here's what we're going to cover today is I want to let you know who this is. This is Steve Geddes. And hopefully I pronounced that right.
Yes, sure did. Yeah.
Rock and roll. Okay. Steve Geddes. And Steve Geddes, he has the Fibrenew franchise in Kelowna and also in
Vernon
as well. Yeah. Look at me, I'm not prepared here properly. But here's the thing that I'm really excited about is that he was awarded the prestigious International Franchise of the Year award from AIFA. We're going to figure out what that acronym is. And we went to Vegas for the award ceremonies. And here's the thing that I'm really excited to talk about is how to scale your business and and the question I want our listeners to think about is, are you scaling your business properly? And I really want to get this because Steve is fantastic at scaling businesses, and we're going to have a great conversation around that. So without further ado, the guest, Steve Geddes, thank you for being on the podcast, man.
Thank you for allowing me this time. Yes, we had a wonderful conversation in Kelowna a week or two ago, and I couldn't wait to do this. Love talking about business, love talking about scaling, and what Fibrenew has done for us out here.
Yeah, and the other side of we also have a whole bunch of personal connections too on personal growth, and just it's I think you can't grow a business unless you're growing yourself. That's a whole nother conversation altogether, and I'm really curious on this. But before we dive into the details of like how you scaled your businesses and what our listeners can do to scale their business is I want to have a little backstory. So give me a little backstory on yourself and what brought you into this business.
Yeah, way back, I guess, back in the 90s, I'm a Halifax boy, Halifax, Dartmouth, Nova Scotia, so I'm an East Coaster. And as you can see, I still fly the flag behind me, proud. When you're from the East Coast, doesn't matter where you're at, you always say your home is still Nova Scotia. So that's me. I was trying and failing miserably to be a hockey player, like lots of Canadians, and just wasn't working out. So by accident, I of course knew lots of people in town, knew the owner of a furniture company who said, hey, he'll stop being a terrible hockey player and come play on our gentlemen's hockey team. I'll give you a job selling furniture. So I said, perfect. I need something to do. So jumped on that opportunity. But what he did for the first 2 weeks is he said, you're going to be a salesman because you have that ability. I went through business school to learn, sales and marketing. That's sort of my background. But he said, you have to learn how to put the furniture together first. So I actually worked as an installer for 2 weeks, and I learned how the furniture, and that connected with me to this day, that I can't sell something if I don't understand something. So from that first opportunity in business, and I worked sales and marketing jobs before that, but this was my first kick at the can at furniture. So I said, absolutely, let's do it. So I started installing furniture for some of the major furniture companies, Hayworth, Smed International. Smed International is based in Calgary. So lo and behold, I worked there for a couple of years, had the opportunity to move to Calgary and work at their head office. So Smed was international furniture company, specializing in movable walls, furniture, all that stuff. So that's where I really got started in furniture. Worked there until they sold it, started consulting with some other companies. But that was my entrance into furniture, and I absolutely fell in love with it. And I've kind of been around furniture most of my adult life since then, and worked my way through, different aspects of it. But I've always gone back to loving it. Had a sales agency in Calgary for years after that, selling, and I was hired by other companies to scale their business, to introduce new furniture lines into new markets, whether that be Western Canada or the States, and that's what I've really, really found my niche that way, is to introducing new products to market and then being able to scale into new markets or new products, and kept going, and then.
Sorry, I was just you could see me kind of pausing there because you've said so many things, and I was just like, oh, man, I want to talk about that. 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 But just for the listeners, so they understand, where Steve and I met at Derek's, you actually did all the upholstery there, did you not?
Absolutely. Flash forward to today.
Yeah.
Moved out here 5 years ago from Calgary, bought the 5 Renew franchises in Kelowna and Vernon, and scaled up. So 5 Renew, wonderful franchise all over North America. There's between 320 and 330 right now. We add sort of every week, so the exact number is someplace in there. And it is a mobile furniture restoration company. Leather, vinyl, and plastic. Everybody has it. Everybody needs us. They just don't know it yet. That was always my elevator pitch when I started with them at Chamber of Commerce, network functions, and stuff like that. But what I saw when I was introduced to 5 Renew was the opportunity to scale it, to grow it more to full service. So brick and mortar building, full upholstery shop, some furniture repair, take more than just the repair part of it and turn it into full service. And yes, so Derek's Steakhouse, Ross Derek, the owner, we've done 3 or 4 different projects now from some of his other restaurants. So we reupholstered the entire interior, from all the booths, chairs, wall panels, you name it, in there. And really proud of that job. It turned out very nice.
Oh, it looks gorgeous. It looks absolutely gorgeous. And so this interesting story. So Halifax, I've got a connection to Halifax. I went to school back out in Halifax. I went as I was studying to become a chartered accountant, that was the top school in Canada. So I actually went out there and went to school at Dalhousie.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, of course, I have the pub crawl T-shirts from back there, and the scars to prove it, and
absolutely
all of that. The blurriness. If no one's been to Halifax, it's got 4 universities, and it's got more bars per capita than anywhere else in North America. I think
it sure does. It's a wonderful place to grow up without having to grow up. In a way, you can spend your life in downtown Halifax in the bars and have a wonderful time. I did have to move on from that, but it was fun while it lasted. It's a great city, and there is a lot of live music, a lot of entertainment, and universities galore as well.
Yeah, and there's an interesting connection. So on the last podcast I just had was the fellows from Cavello Financial. They do benefits and pensions. His name was Michael St. Croix, and he was actually drafted to the Rangers, and he was actually in the NHL as well. So, but then he went a different route and became into business. So I'm seeing kind of a similarity there for the hockey, but. But it's the sell. You said something here. I can't sell something if I don't understand it. I can't sell something if I don't understand it. And that, can you extrapolate on that? Because that's just, for some reason, that just hit me.
Yeah. And I believe that whatever it is, and I've sold beer, I've sold hockey equipment, I've sold lots of different types of furniture, fabric, you name it. But I believe, and I train my staff the same way to this day, is doesn't matter what you're doing in the business, you have to have an overview of the entire thing. And as a salesperson, marketing person, it's important that you understand what's going on in the factory. If you're selling, manufactured goods, if you will, if it's a service good, if it's IT, you still have to understand the workings and the making of that product. Because then you can present better to your customers. You understand the life cycle of it as well. So whenever I started somebody, and when I moved on through furniture, when I started in at SMED and with Hayworth, we always started somebody in the factory. And even if it's a week, even if it's a few days, to have that understanding. To this day, with my upholsterers, I want them to understand repair. That doesn't mean they're going to be a repair technician, but I want them to understand what we do to the product before it comes there. And that's part of cross-training and everything else. But as a sales and marketing guy like myself, I've always wanted to understand the roots of it. I love walking manufacturing floors. I absolutely love, talking to staff that are working in different divisions, because I'll learn more that then I can use in presentation and better my presentation skills by knowing, the life cycle of this. And that's really been my whole career, is trying to understand it.
That is, I think incredibly powerful. And I want the listeners just to think about this is like, I think of the entrepreneur who starts like a startup, and you start it from the scratch. And I've done that with multiple businesses now, where I was the chief cook and bottle washer to start with, and we keep hearing this whole wave of, no, you need the proper who's to do the hows. You need to find all these delegate. Like, well, that's fine, but that's not where you get to right away. You get to that. You need to understand the whole business. So the people that start businesses from the scratch, I banged together the tables in my first accounting practice. Like, I put together the desks. I bought the equipment. I did all those things, which was great, because then it made me understand the life cycle of a business owner. So when I was in public practice and I was advising them on tax and accounting and advisory, I could actually give them advice knowing what it was like to be a business owner. And that, for us at MBA, we think like entrepreneurs because we realize we are entrepreneurs. And so I love the fact that you're like, it's learning, understanding the whole business, because it's not just one little silo. It's like it's an entire organization. You need to understand to be able to grow it. And which I really want to get into with you, man. Like where's the scaling? Like, talk to me about the scaling. Like, you've been, obviously I identified you and brought you in as a special trainer for business, but what is your experience with scaling businesses, and I don't want to say what's the magic sauce, because everybody's looking for the magic pill. Like, oh, can you just give me the magic pill to scale my business, right? Like, by the way, there's no magic pill. Business is hard. But if you have the right people showing you the right things to do, you can make it happen, right? So what is it that you know how to do? And you know what? I warned you about this before. I said, my dog is stressed out, so I'm going to pick him up and put him on my lap now. And
that's okay.
He'll calm down. So,
you know what? We'll learn something from him, I'm sure, as well.
Yeah, there's patience. That's what I learned from him.
Exactly.
And the gift of patience is patience. So
true.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is no magic pill. But what everybody wants to buy that. Where I've been successful is a template that has worked in multiple different industries, in multiple different companies. But it starts with, and back to small ownership, having that entrepreneurial attitude, whether it's my company or somebody else's. I want to run it with passion, and and it's hard work. And when you look at the successful, Fortune 500 guys and gals out there, it all starts with hard work, right? And, they didn't buy their way to success with hard work, late hours. When you were talking about, that magic pill, Derek Stakos, back to that job, we had to get it done. And my two daughters, 16 and 22, were in my shop one night pulling staples off of dining chairs because we had to reupholster them. And my wife and I were helping, and my daughter's like, Dad, how do you do them so quick? And my answer was, because I've done a lot of them. And that kind of is the start to the recipe, right? Is repetition, and repetition with whatever you're doing. And I believe that passion will keep me going in that way. So, you know what? I get up every day and I love doing it. I love meeting people. I love presenting. Drives my wife crazy sometimes because we're on a plane to Cabo and I'm talking about fiber new. We are, I'm on a golf course someplace and I'm talking about, scaling business and adding to it. But back to the template is understanding what you're doing, understanding the market. So again, now I know the technical end, the the part that I've been trained on, the bits and pieces, whether it's manufactured goods or whatever your company is, whether it's IT, whether it's accounting, you understand the process, and then you can then better go find your customers. I don't believe in that spray and pray mentality where I'm going to throw some ads out there and hope to goodness that the phone rings, the emails start going off. I'm going to strategically go look for business. And, the term grassroots marketing has been used lots over the years for that. But I'm going to go find the business. And again, with FiberNew, back to what I said, everybody needs this. They just don't realize it yet. So I'm going to go to where people gather lots of, right? I'm going to go to where there's multiple opportunities for me, and I'm going to present that way. So I don't want to reinvent myself every day. I want to go find others to work with me. And what I mean by that is when I go into a new territory, bring a new product to market, I want to go where there's a need, and then there's a need for those people to carry it on. And that is my referral network. And I have lived with a referral network my whole life. And, the crazy part, people will say, well, Steve, you were 23, 24 years in Calgary. You're now in Kelowna starting all over again. I went back to my same network of people. Hey, where do I go in Kelowna? When I was doing my business plan on buying the franchise, I went to my support groups, my mentors. Everybody should have a mentor. Everybody should have somebody to throw ideas off of to see if we're absolutely crazy or if it makes sense. My mentor Wade is in Mazatlan, but it's real easy to have a conversation with him or have a text conversation with him. But you go to where people that are close to you are friends. They want to help you succeed. So my referral network started there. When I teach people how to scale up their business, start with your community, start with your friends. We all are a part of some type of community, whether that be, golf, our neighborhoods, our churches, our Facebook associations, whatever it might be. We have a group of people that know us. They want us to be successful. So I start there and then I expand out. But that referral network to me is everything. And then I'm going to service the, I'm going to make sure that they know what we do, and I'm going to take care of them. And that's where we start. And so I can impact and I can scale up very quickly. I'm the largest FiberNew franchise in North America. I have 190,000 people. So
sorry, say that again. The largest in North America?
In North America. So of the 330, I am the largest gross sales FiberNew. 2023, I'm assuming 2024 is going to be right there as well. And I have 190,000 people in my territory. So it's not necessarily about you need a mass amount of people. You need to go to the right people.
Right. And sorry, when you say territory, because every franchise has a certain territory that you can cover. And just for those of you that don't understand or haven't seen it, like the franchise model is like you have a certain territory and your territory is only 190,000 people.
Correct.
And so that's the Kelowna area or in the Vernon area.
Yeah. So that's that area. So, for people that understand Kelowna from the bridge, I don't have West Kelowna. So I have from the bridge to Enderby, we'll say just past Vernon. Yeah. That's my geographical area that I purchased as a franchise. So you're right. So that's the area that I can work in. And then there's other franchises in West Kelowna and Kamloops, and on the mainland, there's, I think, 5 in Lower Mainland. There's one on the island. So that's sort of what you're buying, is that territory to build. So I use that as a selling feature to new franchises, saying, if I had Vegas, when I went there for the show and looking at one casino, multiplying that by however many casinos are there, all I see in a casino, I'm not a big gambler. All I see is leather and vinyl everywhere. I would make a killing there because of all the opportunities and the opportunities that come in multiples. So a retirement home, for instance, has 200 chairs instead of 6 chairs at Granny's house. So I'm going to go where there's multiple opportunities to grow my business, to scale up commercial. And so, the FiberNew franchise, to me, when I did my business plan, I based that plan on commercial growth, not on residential growth. residential growth is fine. And I do some residential work here and we do some wonderful work. But my scaling, my opportunity to grow this has been based on commercial work.
Okay, so I'm going to unpack this because, man, you dropped a whole bunch of nuggets here that I want to make sure our listeners just picked up on here. There's an underlying question I would like the listeners to also think about it. Is your approach to scaling your business working? Like, that is a big question. Like, is it working for them? Yeah. Is it? I know it's working for you. Like, you just did the social proof on that one. I was just like, wait a second, the largest in North America. And I just went, that is impressive, folks. If that doesn't get you wanted to listen to what Steve has to say, you got to take the cotton out of your ears and put it, and put it in your mouth, because this is, the old saying, take it out of your ears and put it in your mouth.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
I don't say that out loud a lot.
No.
But I am proud of the fact that the template worked. So when I bought FiberNew, I'm like, hey, this has worked before. This is going to work. So yeah. I had to prove it to myself one more time, but it worked. It
clearly worked. So here's the thing. One thing you said, don't spray and pray. This is this advertising. And we had another great conversation with Will Walczak from Highlight Marketing. And he was talking about that targeting and finding where your people are. That's where you focus. And my business coach that I used to have, and I love the fact that you brought up to make sure that you have a mentor or a coach with you. So my business is, I do business coaching. I coach accounting firms. I coach businesses. I'm a coach. But I'm a coach who has a coach. So my saying is, if you have a coach who doesn't have a coach, you need a new coach. Right?
Well said. No, it's so true.
Because we all need to be growing all the time. So don't spray and pray. Go to the gathering places. So are you going and hanging out in the right areas? Are you going to the communities that you already have to engage and activate those communities, to be aware of who you are and what you do? And everybody has connections in communities like they do. We just don't, are you tapping into that? Are you doing that? Right. I love the fact that you brought up referral network, because actually that's one of the chapters in the Accountant Success Formula. It's all about referral network. And we're big on that at MBA, which is we know that we can't provide everything to our business owners, but we know what we're really good at. And what we want to do is work with the other referral network partners, being the lawyers, financial advisors, bankers, insurance agents, business strategists like yourself. We have business coaching inside of MBA as well. We just haven't marketed that much. Maybe I'm gonna have to talk to you about that later. But it's about engaging that core group of people to give the client what they actually need. And when you engage with your referral network, they refer you clients, you refer them clients, and it's a symbiotic relationship. It all keeps growing.
So true.
Right?
So I joined, for instance, the Chamber when I first moved to Kelowna. I'd done business in Kelowna before, but I'd never lived in Kelowna until we bought this and moved out. So I joined the Chamber to become part of their network breakfast group, not to impact a lot of policy. I'm small business. I'm not big business, so I'm not really going to do a lot of that. I wanted to be with like-minded people, like-minded small business entrepreneurs, people that want to help each other. Because that's, the beauty of small business. And again, I've never been with a franchise until FiberNew. The incredible part of FiberNew that I've found is we just want to help each other. So FiberNewers are helping FiberNewers all over the place. We have this fantastic intranet that we're throwing out questions daily. We have these support people like myself that just want to help. No vested interest. Like, it's not, if I'm helping, like I was talking to our franchise this morning in Puerto Rico. He wanted some advice on airport business because I do a lot of airport business here. So it's just that synergy that you get back and forth. And that's what small business will do to each other. So my network starts there, right? And like you said a minute ago, is you grow from that. And I always use a term when I'm coaching other franchises: ask and answer. If you don't ask, you're never going to get the answer. And so I'll ask, for instance, a chiropractic clinic, if we did a job in there, hey, is there other ones like you? What kind of, you must have a Facebook group or something like this. Can you throw my name out there? People that love doing business with you, it's more difficult to say no than it is to say yes at times, human nature. But they want to help. If we've done a wonderful job, they want to help. So all of a sudden, my sales reps in this town are just not me. My sales reps are the furniture stores, the automotive dealers, all the people that work in there. So the question to whatever type of business it is, who's your friends, who's your referral network that you can go to, say, hey, if you like me, who else is out there like you that needs me?
Yeah. You just brought up that. Do you know a fellow named Joe Stumpf? It's by referral only is the business he has. It's by referral only. Joe Stumpf. He also has a lot of similarities with you and me with his personal background and all the rest of that stuff, right? Yeah. And he does it for real estate, for realtors and mortgage lenders. And it's all about referral only and activating the people you're working with, activate them to refer you clients. But the thing is, and I think there's a big difference between the north of the border and south of the border. South of the border, way more active about growing business and active. I find north of the border in Canada, we're much more timid when it comes to asking for business or asking for referrals. But it's like literally the lowest hanging fruit that's there for your business. It's like you have a client that's beaming and going, oh my God, this was an amazing job. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. And, as typical Canadians, we're humble. Oh, okay. Thanks. Canadian. Okay. Thanks. Wait a second. Hey, you're so happy about this. Do you know anybody else like you that would like to have us do the work for them as well? And it's like, you strike when the iron's hot. They're excited. They got emotional energy around it. And you ask, if you don't ask, you won't know. So I love what you
can answer. Exactly. Yeah. And, so true about the border. When I left Halifax and started with SMED, I am on the marketing team and I'm 3 weeks out of the month in the States, and I'm working in Chicago and LA and Florida and all these places. And I am like a sponge because I'm going to network groups, I'm going to trade shows and everything else. And it's not aggressive, but it's more forward, right? And you're absolutely right. So I learned from our American friends that don't be afraid to ask. And one of my first, not rude awakening, but awakening was we were in training and I was with a group of New Yorkers. Holy mama, nobody's more aggressive than New Yorkers, right? And I met this guy, Todd, I'll never forget him. And I thought we were going to fist fight in the first 15 minutes. By day 2, we were best friends because I just understood that was his way. But I tell you, there was not many better sales reps than him with that company because he was not afraid to ask, but he backed it up with authenticity, with passion, and with doing a wonderful job of service.
That's God, I was just laughing because I was thinking all these different stories of the New Yorkers that I've met, and it just and even like my father-in-law, he's Scottish. You never have to worry what he's thinking. Like he just says it as it is, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm like shocked at what he's saying. But here's the interesting thing, and I got to tie this back into the accounting profession. Is like when it comes to sales, sell is sometimes a 4-letter word to people. Sell is like associated with I'm a sleazy used car salesman. I'm trying to steal from, or snake oil salesman. I'm trying to trick and manipulate and coerce and steal money out of your pocket and not give you a good, and it's interesting. The whole accounting profession is steeped with fear of the sale, to sell something. But the interesting thing is that nothing in business happens until somebody sells something first. Nothing happens, right? So it changes from, and I loved what you did there, Stephen, how you put the wording there, is just ask. You didn't say just force the sale. You said just ask. Yeah. Because that is like, it's like literally just have the conversation with the person and ask them. And then if the next person, and they go, yeah, I got someone, and it becomes a warm lead. And my favorite leads are the warm leads, right? The warm lead comes in, you're not selling them. You just relax and go, okay, what is the problem you're trying to solve? Get to know them really well. And then go, okay, this is what you're trying to solve. I can help you get there.
Exactly. And then you assume the sale. The sale is assumed because now you're on a different level. And
Sorry, say that again. You've assumed the sale?
And then I can assume the sale because I'm not pushing anything down, because you said it, the warm leads are the ones that they're easy to close because they're not, when we do our seminars at Fiber Day, when I put them on, that's one of our team building sessions is, what's your perception when we say the word salesperson, right? And a lot of people have that negative connotation, right? I don't want to beat up used car salesmen or insurance salesmen because it's not fair at times, but there's that negative connotation at times with a certain segment of, today it would be more telemarketers, right? You get that pushy, forced manipulation, stuff like this. But if it's when you're warm, fuzzy, when you become, and so what I talk about with other franchises is then take that word out. You are now marketers. You are product enthusiasts. You can just be presenting what you do. So with passion. So talk about some of the repairs that you've done. People are going to align themselves with successful people and great stories with passion. And then what I mean by assuming the sale is because it will happen. And I always say, in spite of ourselves, it's going to happen. We're going to sell more without being salespeople because we're going to market our way into the business. And we're going to tell such a wonderful passion story about all the jobs that we've done. We don't have to, I don't sell anything, I work my referral network. I work my customer base and then I grow that. So when I started at the airport, for instance, we did, $15,000 a year at the airport, the local airport here. I'll do $220,000 this year 5, somewhere around there in sales at that one location. It's because I recognize that they already like me. I don't have to sell them. I just have to make sure I get to the rest of the people out there and introduce myself as the answer. And then I want to, the Seinfeld, I want to be, everybody needs to have that guy. I want to be the guy. So I want to be the guy.
You got that guy?
I got that guy. Exactly.
You got that guy.
So
are you the guy? You're the guy.
Trainer.
You're the guy. You're the guy.
We're the guy. So Chad, our head trainer at Fiberdew, is you want to be the guy. And that's how we want to be, that person out there or gal. And then there's no selling involved. We've taken away that 4-letter word, like you said.
Yeah.
And it's not a negative anymore.
I love that. I really love that. So it's interesting too, because here's the age we are right now. We're completely bombarded. And for those of you that are listening to the podcast and not watching the video, I'm holding up my cell phone, right? This cell phone is a constant bombardment of tricks and tactics to steal your attention away. And so we're starting to become more and more desensitized to the sales gimmicks. So they're getting stronger and harder. And you can see that in the news. They have to keep dramatizing everything to the nth degree. Like, you watch the news and all of a sudden it's like, well, okay, a storm happens and it goes away, like the heat wave, and it goes away. Okay, heat wave, and then the next day, the title on the news is heat wave gone, but another one could show up tomorrow. It's like, really? But it's gone. Like, what are you doing? And they're constantly bombarding everybody with this constant barrage of trickery and taking your attention away. And so, like, that is not working anymore. Personally, I've never liked it. I don't like that type of thing. And so for those of you that are listening and you're just like, you're getting caught up in the hype of, you need now AI to be able to trick people and to get them into buying and all the rest of that. We're talking about good old fashioned relationship building. That's what you're talking about, which is so refreshing. Especially post-COVID, people are finally coming out of their caves and they're really, you see that the amount of people that showed up at Derek's for his opening, he was shocked. He was like, oh my gosh, look at all the people. Everybody came there to support him. And it was a beautiful location. The food was incredible, but just to see people coming out, they want to connect. They want to have a relationship with someone. And like you said, they know, like, and trust you. They're going to do business with you because you're the guy.
And, I've joked for years that the internet's a fad. It's we're almost past it, maybe. I don't know for sure, but maybe. But that was a perfect example of, post-COVID. And what COVID taught us is people still buy from people. You're absolutely right. People want that relationship. And whether it's a service provider like myself, whether it's accounting, we talked about this at Derek's that night. I want to have a face-to-face conversation with my accountant, with my banker, with whoever, right? I want to look them in the eye. And I'm Scottish, and maybe my dad taught me that old school is it still important? But it's important to enough people out there that you can't buy what we have on Amazon or online, right? It is still there's still a service world out there that wants to be that relationship. And I believe in that wholeheartedly. That's where we're successful. And it's not, social media is a great backup, and we advertise on all the social platforms as a backup to what we do face to face. So then if somebody wants to go see the pretty pictures of before and afters and all that, we have it. But my sales, and I've tried it. I've tried, Facebook. I've tried all the different social media platforms. Guess who's successful? Me going out to events like that and talking to people and marketing with passion and building one more relationship, and then that grows.
And I just love it. The issue that comes across is the allure of the quick win, the allure of the internet, the allure of it being easy. And I've started a bunch of internet businesses, and I spent a ton of money, like obscene amounts of money, trying to market things. It was the accountant success formula. I was trying to market that. And it was interesting because as it came down inside the accountant success formula, I'm not showing accountants how to grow their business by doing Facebook ads. I have a chapter out of yours, which is referral network, which is simply engaging a referral network and growing it that way, because people do business with people. But the allure is to go in and do something quick and easy to just kind of get that quick win. And what we're talking about is good old fashioned client relationships. And to come back to what you said from the beginning there, is that you can't sell something if you don't understand it. So if you have that internal passion and love of the product or service you have, and I think here's the big key, and for a fact, and I know you and I are going to see eye to eye on this one, Steve, that it is incredibly valuable for the client, and you want them to have it, not because you're trying to make the sale, but because your service is something that would be incredibly valuable to them. You're going to have the passion about it.
Absolutely.
And then you're going to, then you're not selling anymore. You're bringing the opportunity to serve.
And bingo, serving. And I think that's why I've been able to do it in a bunch of different industries, because it's not just about the product. It's about that cycle and about that relationship and about that passion of bringing something to someone else. I sold retirement home furniture for years. Not real sexy. My kids knew me as a guy that sold pea-proof chairs. That's not as sexy as some other stuff, but I love doing it. You know why? Because I was affecting seniors in a positive way. So I found the excitement in it. I sold a brewery here in town. We scaled up and sold it to somebody else. Myself with Wayne, we get it up and running. Guess what? I don't drink beer. And when I hired sales reps, because I had 14 sales reps under me at that time, and they're like, well, Steve, you can't sell this. You don't drink. It's like, I don't have to drink to be able to understand a product. I asked my customers what it was like for them. What's that moment when you drink a real hoppy beer? So I could explain it to the next guy. But I was repeating what my customers told me, but it wasn't about that. It was about the cycle. It was about the relationships and understanding that. And so as a beer salesperson, if you have to go sit in a bar for 3 hours and buy drinks for customers, you've done a terrible job, because then you've taught people how to treat you, and you've taught them that it's free because I'm going to buy you a beer. But if I go in and present a product that's going to increase their sales and we're going to have some fun with it, then now I have a business partner and I've built a relationship up, and I'm going to be a successful salesperson. If I give something away, that's what it's worth. So I never want to give my products away. So when I worked with the brewery, it wasn't about giving products away. It was about selling with passion and building relationships. And the same thing, right? So that was more sexy to my friends, by the way, than retirement home chairs. But I was probably more successful with retirement home chairs because, again, it was furniture and that's my passion. But it's about building relationships. And just like we keep beating on that, that's, I think, the key to success for scaling business is not the spray and pray, but getting in there and doing the work and building your base.
I love it. I love it. For those of you that are listening to the podcast, and watching the podcast, you'll be able to see my dog, Rocky. He's sitting on my lap. He's 14 years old, and he was being a bit of a problem because he's filled with anxiety. I need that pee-proof chair for him because he's peeing all over my house, Steve. The reason why I have him on my lap right now is because if I didn't have him in the crate when he started whining, if I had him just on a regular bed, he would have been walking around the house trying to find his mummy, my wife.
Yeah.
Couldn't find her. And then he'd end up peeing all over the place. And then I'd have to clean it up. And then I'd have to bring in a cleaning service. So
I can hook you up.
I need that pee-proof chair for my dog. So I'm in that for Rocky. Hey,
perfect.
This has been a fantastic conversation. The last thing I just want to ask you is like, what most excites you about your future with the Fibrenew and the business and where you're going, guys? For me, I talk to so many entrepreneurs. I love doing this podcast because I get to have conversations with great people like you, can provide some resources and insights for business owners to grow their business in their life. And it's all about the bigger, brighter future for us. For me, about an entrepreneur, it's like, what can I create? What can I take from a lower level of productivity and bring it to a higher level of productivity? How can I create more value in the world? And for me, this is part of this podcast is accountants don't talk about this stuff, but we do at MBA because we care about our business owners. We want to be able to have these conversations. What are you excited about? What's your bigger, brighter future that you see, not necessarily for Fibrenew, but even just for yourself? Because that's what I'm very curious about.
Well, and Fibrenew has taught me once again that I can do this and the template works. So my future is, I love doing this. I love helping others scale their business. I love coaching, mentoring, and helping grow the next set of franchise owners, entrepreneurs, whatever it is, because I know that's what I'm good at. With Fibrenew, I was able to do it. What I loved about the franchise is I can scale it up and there's no tax on my success, i.e. there's no royalties. So Fibrenew has a really unique structure, no royalties on it. So I can do $100,000 in sales or $1 million in sales, and I have a set price monthly, basically my franchise fee, right? So there's no tax on my success. I love that. So I can scale up and scale down, and I can add and subtract with what I want to do. And I've got a real good group of staff members here working for me. And they're kind of running it for me now, right? Which allows me now to do more of this, which I absolutely love. And wifey knows that this is my passion, that I can get out and I do seminars for Fibrenew, where, I'm off to Calgary and Kansas City next to put on some seminars and help train the next one. And Fibrenew has sort of opened up that door. Like I went to Las Vegas for the franchise awards last year. 4,800 different franchises were at this thing. Just mind-boggling how many are out there, stateside for the most part. There's such an opportunity of all of these small business owners to large and medium size that want to scale up, that want to expand, that want to have maybe a little bit more of their pie, and it's exciting to be able to maybe help with that.
That's awesome. So just to be clear, are you doing coaching to other entrepreneurs? Or are you doing mainly speaking and coaching to the Fibrenew community and or franchise owners?
Mostly Fibrenew, but I have done some other ones as well. So I do have a consulting business that I've helped scale up a few other businesses. I've done some seminars, some Zoom training on scaling your business, on selling, everything from back home in Nova Scotia to out here to the States. So,
okay. So where can people then, here's the thing, as this is why I do this podcast, is I want to give people resources and tactics to grow their business in their life. Where can people find you? What are these business owners that are listening to this podcast that will going, we need training about how to scale the business. Yes, I want to talk to Steve. I want to meet with you. How can they contact you?
You can call me or text me 250-212-3622 or email me at steve@sgefurniture.com. And I'd love to have a conversation about what works.
That would be fantastic. So there you go. People, take him up on that. And if anything, give him a call or an email, or fire an email to us here at MBA. We'd love to give you whatever support we can to help you grow your business and your life as well. Steve, that was topic number 1. And I'm sure we're going to have topic 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We'll talk more in the future, but thank you so much for being on the podcast. And Rocky, thanks you as well for the future pee-proof chair that you're going to help us get, because hopefully he hasn't peed on my lap now during this podcast.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you so much having me on, and I can't wait to do it again.
Okay, thanks.
And Rocky, your fabric is on the way. We'll pick a color and get it out to you.
And Rocky says thanks.
Okay.
See ya. If you're a business owner or CPA who believes the accounting profession has let you down, then please reach out to us at www.mbacpa.ca so we can have a chat to see if we're a fit to work together. We're always looking forward to talking to you. See you next time.